Hello, and welcome back to Blazer News. Today is April 19th, 2017, and I'm your host, Caitlin Oddie. Today we are starting our brand new segment where we are throwing back to a broadcast of the past. We're going back to a report from November 15th, 1994, and we are going to see how that report holds up to the new information gathered within the last 13 years.
Hello and welcome to Blazer News. It's November the 15th, 1994. I'm your host, Sarah Risha, and today we'll be talking about a new anti-seizure drug called Lomaticol. Could this new drug be the cure to epilepsy? Epilepsy is a brain disease that can be traced back as far as 377 BC. It's characterized by sudden episodes of seizures that can include violent convulsions and unawareness. Frequent seizures can lead to brain damage, disability, and even death. Each year, 1,500,000 children and adolescents in the U.S. alone will be diagnosed with epilepsy. The current anti-seizure medications that have the possibility of severe side effects such as rash, blood problems, liver problems, severe behavioral disturbances, tremor, and worsening seizure control. Yesterday, the FDA announced that it is considering of approving a new anti-seizure drug. This new drug, Lomaticol, works in an entirely different way than any other drug currently approved for seizure control. This breakthrough may lead to an entirely new view of the brain and may even lead to the cure for this centuries-old disease. We look forward to keeping you updated as further clinical studies of this new drug are scheduled to be held at our very own Children's Hospital.
To discuss this report, we are joined by Dr. Matheson. So our first major question is, do we have a cure for epilepsy?
Unfortunately, no. Epilepsy is a complex neurological disease that manifests itself in many ways. The base cause of epilepsy is an unusual firing of the neurons in the brain. Unfortunately, we do not know enough about brain chemistry to start on a cure today, but we are effectively treating the symptoms of epilepsy with our current anti-seizure medication.
If Lomaticol isn't the cure to epilepsy, then what's its significance?
Lomaticol was one of the first of a second generation of anti-seizure medications. The second generation of anti-seizure medications have a broader range of action, a reduced probability of side effects, and are generally unaffected by other medications. Lomaticol in particular is useful as it has multiple modes of action. This means that Lomaticol can be used to treat individuals who suffer from many different types of seizures, and it is even used as a mood stabilizer for diseases such as bipolar disorder.
Nowadays, there are lots of different anti-seizure medications out there, but not all of them are FDA approved. What does it take for an anti-seizure medication to become FDA approved?
It takes a lot, especially for the newer anti-seizure drugs like Lomaticol. These new drugs have to prove that they can not only inhibit seizures, but they must do it just as well, if not better, than the current anti-seizure medications and with fewer side effects. The FDA is very picky about how you do your clinical trials. Lomaticol had already been in widespread use for years in many different countries before the FDA even approved clinical testing in the U.S. The clinical testing of Lomaticol as an add-on drug in the treatment of absence seizures took at least a year and 14 epilepsy centers across the U.S. before it was completed. And absence seizures are just one of many neurological diseases that Lomaticol is approved to treat.
That was very informative. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Matheson.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Caitlin Oddie, and thank you for watching Blazer News. Tune in tomorrow where we will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of making a presentation instead of a written final.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping.
Epilepsy is caused by unusual We're down south here, y'all.
Welcome to the South, y'all.
Okay, start over.
All right.
That's not what that says.
To discuss this report, we are joined by Dr. Matheson. So our first major question is, do we have a cure for epilepsy?
Unfortunately, no. Epilepsy is a complex neural. I promise. I'm not aiming for a PhD. Promise, guys. The second generation of anti-seizure medications have a broader range of action, have a reduced probability.
It just reminded me of Hubba Bubba. Remember that bubble gum? Anyway, sorry. Tangent. Okay, ready?